Hello, friends. So, something that has come up or comes up often as I talk to moms and fathers who want to homeschool their kids is the scheduling. The scheduling thing really stresses them out. So, I wanted to create this video specifically for scheduling and add it to all of these other videos for you because hopefully you'll find something in here that will be helpful and beneficial for you. Scheduling is tricky, and that is because not every family is going to be the same. There are a lot of different dynamics within lots of different families, and one homeschool family will look different from another homeschool family, and the public school system will look different from your homeschool family. And so we wonder, oh, what do we do? Well, here's what not to do. Can I start with that? Because I had this experience myself when I was teaching in fifth grade, and I decided to stay home and start teaching homeschooling my kids. And when I came home, I thought, oh, this is going to be so fun. It's like when I was little and I could get like, we did the trampoline. We got our little bouncer trampoline out and we drew with chalk on the trampoline and I got to play teacher. And so I put this great schedule together and I did all my lesson plans. And guess what? Yeah, it was a total flop because a public school system and a public school setting is not the same or equivalent in any way, shape, or form as a home family that's homeschooled. We do not do the same things in our home, mostly because we have different values and our focuses are going to be different than a public school system. So if you're one of those parents who's tried to say, okay, reading, writing, and arithmetic, and then a recess break, and you're trying to schedule it like the school district schedules their day, just stop. Just don't do it because that's what causes a lot of frustration. Actually, that's what makes it so confusing for us and so frustrating for our children as well. Maybe some of your kids like a recess break, so it's okay to have a recess break and it's okay to call it that. But don't depend on the public school sector to give you the schedule you need for your home. It just won't work. It won't work. And so that's one thing that I want to share with you. The other thing where we're looking at different dynamics of different homeschool families, they're all going to have different schedules. Some people are half involved in co-ops. Some people are completely involved in co-ops. Some people are just at home the whole time, but they have little kids, and some people have older kids, and then a blend and mix and everything, and it's all over the place. So don't rely on other people to set your schedule for you. You get to decide what is most valuable and what is most important for you to spend your time on with your children every single day. Now, I know there's been a lot of like hours like being spread everywhere. Well, I only spend 3 hours with my kids. I spend 6 hours. I spend 2.5. I'm going to tell you right now that the amount of time you spend with them, like sitting down and teaching them, is going to vary. It doesn't matter if it's like 3 or 6 or 5 or whatever it is, there's not a set limit on education. And your kids are going to be learning with you all day long for their whole entire life if you homeschool. So we're not going to demand a certain amount of hours to say, well, I'm good. I'm a good homeschool parent because I spend 6 hours a day, or I spend 3 really intensive hours with my kids every day on homeschooling. It's not really important. So just get that out of your head. If you end up spending around 3 hours or 6 hours with your kids, and it is like daily and it's on average, that's great. So what? That's awesome. But the most important thing you want to focus on with your schedule is, are my children, and this is the question you ask yourself, are my children learning what I want them to learn? Did they learn what I wanted them to learn today? And sometimes even that question is a no because things happen in our day. And there may be a whole entire week where we drop the ball and we think, oh my word, I didn't do anything with my kids. But guess what? You did, because they're still in your home environment and they're still learning from you. You just didn't sit down and actually teach anything to them. But I want you to understand too that they're still learning and there's still growth that's happening just by having them be in the environment of your home. Now, that doesn't mean, well, Heather said they're still learning and I don't have to teach them. No, they are still learning, but we still want to take the time to be with them and to teach them certain things. So one of the things that I was thinking, I have to look at my thing. Okay, so planning. I'm going to talk a little bit for a moment about those who have young children. Okay, those who have young children, it is a lot less important for you to do all the subjects, reading, writing, math, science, history, because we think with our oldest child, remember, you had an oldest child, right? And that oldest child, you're thinking, I've got to do all this for them, or they can't do this and they have to do this. And this is what the schedule says. And this is where all the benchmarks are. So they have to reach these things. Stop. Just relax. release it because it's not important. Okay. What is important is that you spend time with your child and that you teach them at their pace what they want to know at the time. What are their interests? Go with their interests. It is going to look very, very different from anything else, from anyone else, because your child is very, very different from anyone else. So it's going to look different for you. I think this is the most intimidating part about homeschooling because we think it has to look a certain way or our children have to reach certain benchmarks by a certain time or we're failing them. And that is a lie. That's a complete lie that we believe as homeschool families or as homeschool moms. So I'm going to give you this little point, a pointer, and just tell you when you get to that point and you're feeling stressed, blow it out and relax and let it go. Because all of the things around us in our environment can dictate a lot more than what we think it can. And we can be very influenced by the things in our environment without really noticing it or without recognizing it. Sometimes we do recognize it because we have an in-law or a parent or a teacher from the school district come and tell us how behind our children are. But what they don't see is how ahead they are as well in other things. So give yourself an allowance to relax on that and let it go because it's not important. If you can let it go, you're going to have a much greater and loving experience with your children, and they're going to learn more from you that way. So with young children, all of those things are important, right? Or they can be important according to your philosophy, what you believe for your children. But I am going to tell you that when your children are little, it is more than enough for you to play with them and to read to them. Play with them and read to them. Play with them and read to them. They are learning everything that they need to know at that age to just play, to just discover things. And they learn a lot more than you realize, than you would even imagine. If you ask your kid, you never taught them how to count, but yet here they're counting. Like they learn it from you. They learn it from watching you. They learn it from your environment. And so if you have a lot of little kids, I remember when I hit 3, I was thinking, oh my word, this is so hard. 3 kids, that's harder than 1 and harder than 2. When you hit that 3rd child, you're busy. And that 3rd child, you can add as many children as you want after that because it doesn't matter. It's just hard. And so while they're little, play with them, spend time with them, teach them through play and read with them. You can go outside and there are so many things that you can teach your children outside playing with them. So make it a play learning experience if you have a lot of little children. And if your oldest is coming into kindergarten, play with your children. That's so valuable. Play. Let them do big body play. Let them discover and let them grow. If you are reading to them every night, as well as playing with them, they are going to learn and they're going to be where they need to be when they're ready to learn to read. So don't stress too much about it. When they're younger, play with them and read with them. Okay, so older children, the needs of older children shifts dramatically. When they're little, they like to play with mom and mom is the center. Mom is everything, right? Or dad. And they just want their attention to be within their home more so than outside of their home. Though outside of their home experiences are really great for them. But when they get older, it's a little bit different. When they're older, they need to start taking on more responsibilities. This is when they hit about 9 or 10 and start going through some changes in their body and some maturation. They take on more responsibility. They are going to need more social interaction. So the co-ops at this age or plays or dramas, whatever you can get them involved in, sports in the community is going to really be helpful to them because they're going to crave it. And the other thing that they're really going to crave is that emotional expression. So foster that emotional expression for your children while they're little, like their art and music and things like that, so that as they get older, they can already naturally flow into that emotional expression because that's going to be the way they express themselves as teens. And it's going to be really important that that's guided so that you don't have a lot of mean words or backbiting or maybe just anger that comes out in children at that age as they grow into youth. So as they grow into the youth, if you have something that fosters them into that emotional expression, it's going to be so much of an easier transition for everyone. So then I have the idea of the AM and the PM schedule. I'm just kind of jumping around a little bit. I hope that's okay. But when we are scheduling our children, if we have an AM and a PM schedule set forth in front of them that they can mark, if they're older, let them take the responsibility for it. If they're younger, help guide them through it. The AM and PM schedule is something that they're going to use throughout their whole entire life and will benefit them throughout their whole entire life. Adults are working on trying to figure out an AM and a PM schedule if they want to become successful. So if you want successful adults from your children, have them create an AM schedule and a PM schedule. There doesn't have to be a lot of things within the AM PM schedule, maybe 3 to 5. Keep it at an odd number, but keep it low. So 3 to 5 is probably really good. Or maybe you just try one thing with your toddler and say, hey, every morning, if you do this, you get out of bed and you dress yourself, then you get to put a star on this day, and start their AM schedules early. PM schedule too, it could just be as simple as brushing their teeth at night, to start getting them into the idea and the concept of habits, things that we do every single day. So an AM and PM schedule are really valuable. When you're thinking about scheduling your school day, it could be a really important or valuable time for your family to do a family AM and a family PM schedule, where at this time, everybody is going to do this and this and this as part of our AM schedule, or this and this and this as part of our PM schedule as a family. But then I would also break it down into individual AM PM schedules for your kids so that they can start gaining that responsibility for their actions in the morning and in the evening. Part of our AM PM schedule also includes things that they can work on that I don't have to be there to help them with. So they can get up, my children can get up and they can read for 30 minutes in the morning. That's part of their AM schedule. So things like that you can add into the AM PM schedule without even really have to scheduling it as an educational time for you and your kids. So that's another idea. The other idea is to not be so strict on times. I know if we get to be so strict on time, and this is a personality thing. So you think about your personality. If we get so strict on time, a lot of us have the tendency to go to all or nothing thinking. So if we get up at 8 and we were supposed to eat breakfast at, well, not breakfast because everybody still needs to eat breakfast, but let's say we were supposed to do our devotional at 7:30 and we woke up at 8, we woke up late. Then we think, oh, we missed it. I guess we're not doing it today. This is called all or nothing thinking. So if we set times, and if it's in our personality to say, oh, we missed it, I guess we're not doing it today, then get rid of the time and start putting together just an order of things. So when we wake up, no matter what time we wake up, this is our schedule. If that helps you with your personality and how your family works. If you are very strict on time and you're up and you're moving and you have the personality where you're just dun, 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 you need a schedule, that's great. But I am going to tell you also, if you have that personality, to work on leniency and to work on letting some things go and letting some things shift and change, because there will be times when you will be so caught up in the schedule that you set that you will miss learning opportunities for you and your children. If your child is really, really engaged in weather and the time is up and you're moving on to the next subject, but they still have questions and they still want to learn about weather, you're missing learning opportunities. So be lenient with time so as to really understand, okay, are we done learning about this, or do we need to continue learning for a little bit longer? The same thing is opposite. That is true. If you start on weather and your kids aren't really interested in weather right now, and you're just forcing them to listen to you, cut it short and say, I can see we're going to have to come back to this at another time when there's more interest in it. Let's move on to our next thing and move ahead. Because if you make your kids sit through something that they're completely not interested in, they're going to learn to hate learning. So just be cognizant of the time and what allowances you give yourself if you are doing a schedule. Okay, that's the other point. The other things are with scheduling. You have your AM, PM schedule. I know some parents really get confused on how to manage the back and forth with the kids. So the individualized or the group learning, that's another thing I want to hit on really quick. If you are doing individualized learning, your other children need to be engaged in something else at the time. So if you need a child to have individualized learning, your other children need to be doing something just as productive without you. Now, sometimes when my kids were little and I had to work with my older son on his reading, I would say, hey, Wildcrats are amazing. So you can find all sorts of like little different learning videos. If you don't want them on TV, come up with activities that they can do. Maybe some I Spy or whatever around the house, but keep them busy and get them engaged so that you can focus on your child that needs the help. But so what I would do is my children would really love Wild Kratts. And so where it was a learning video, I didn't mind that they were watching it because it kept them busy so I could work with my other son. So during the time I was working with him, I would have them watch Wild Kratts and I would have them write down 3 cool things that they learned about whatever animal it was that they were learning about. So it wasn't that I just sat them in front of something to just keep them busy and occupied. They were engaged in what they were doing. So they had to write things down and then they had to come and share them with me. So find other activities that your other children can be doing that will keep them occupied. Another great one is when your other children are down for naps. That's a great time for you to work with your children one-on-one. As they get older and you need that individual time, I like to pair my children up. I have children that age 19, he's gone, but he's my oldest, all the way to 7. And so when I need to work with a child who is older, then I will pair up my younger children together to go read a story or to go do a listening story in our listening library downstairs. And that keeps them engaged, and then they can come and tell me about it. The opposite is true. Like if I need to work with little kids on things, then my older kids are doing a group study together somewhere else on something else that they find interesting. So just plan out how you can take advantage of all the time and take advantage of their time too, where they're always continually learning. Find ways to help them learn. And if they're engaged in it and they can stay engaged in it, that gives you a lot of awesome time to work individually with your child. So that's another piece of advice that works really, really well. Group work, if your children are close in age, math, I group my kids up with math because they're going to relearn and practice and relearn a lot of those similar things with math. So I can group my little kids all together and we can do all the same math. I can group my kids together and we could do all of my kids, like even my older kids together to do science. And then we split out for different things. If I have to work with them individually, I have two other kids working in groups on something else. So figure out the best way to manage your time so that all of your children can be engaged in their learning. It may take a little bit more practice or a little bit more preparation on your part to be able to put little projects together, or you can find some things online that will have projects already pre-created for you. We have little learning centers. This came into my mind, so I'm just going to share it. It's called Learning Centers by Evan Moore, or EVAN, so Evan or Even More, Moore. And there are a lot of different take it to your desk centers that I used as a 5th grade teacher, but then I also used in my home as well. And there's all different levels from pre-K all the way up into 12th grade that you can grab. And all it is it's a book with a lot of different portfolio activities in them that your kids can take and play. There's games or there's different worksheets or different activities that they can do. And that might be a different way that you can add more interest and more engagement with your children who just need a little bit more attention in a different direction. So you could work with the one child, but that they're still learning and they're still engaged in their learning. So those are some ideas for you. For more scheduling ideas, I can probably post a few of the different schedules that I've tried in my home that have worked and have been successful. As your kids age, your schedules are going to change. And so it's always a change. It's always going to be changing and shifting. So don't get too caught up on schedules. I hope that was beneficial for you. And if you have any other ideas, I'd love to hear about them because I love sharing them with other people. And all of us are very creative. We have to be, as homeschool families, we have to be creative. And so I love to hear what other people have done and ask other people and see if it fits your schedule or it fits maybe your philosophy for your family. The most important thing, don't overplan your days and enjoy the time you have with your children at home. Make every moment count in a productive way that is helpful to you and your children and your family. Make sure you take time for play and take time to learn and take time to work, and you'll find a great balance for you and your family. Carpe diem.